Hi, this is Derek Jordan. Welcome to the World Fusion Show, where we bring you the leading innovators in world fusion music. Today, my guest is Jeff Greene, who is a composer, multi-instrumentalist, world traveler, and instrument collector. And we are bringing you the show today from through Skype, and we're going to be interviewing Jeff in his music room in New York City. Welcome, Jeff Greene, to the World Fusion Show.
Greetings.
How are you? How are you today?
Everything is all right.
So there you are in your musical playpen.
Yes.
And you're surrounded by all kinds of instruments. Can you just show like the walls and just see what it looks like?
I can attempt to do that.
Yeah, try.
Let's see what we can do. So, tell me if you can see, but
yeah,
this is
pan around.
This is my room.
Yeah.
With a few of my instruments, and the whole room acts as a kind of vibrating chamber with all of these instruments on the walls and on the floors and everywhere else. So that's where I like to hang out.
Excellent.
When I play in here, the everything vibrates.
Yeah, I bet it does. So that's not even all of your instruments, right? You have other instruments in storage.
Well, yes, I have another room. This is about 1/3 of the instruments that I've collected in the last 40-something years. And the big ones, the gamelons, the kulantangs, the marimbas, the vibraphones, the big ones are in another place, yeah.
It's terrific. It's so cool. So, Jeff, how did you get started in music? Did you have music around the house growing up?
Well, yes, I certainly listened to music, when I was not even a teenager. We had a piano, and I would basically stay up all night long and drive my parents crazy and just, play on the piano literally all night long. So I was always interested in music, but I had many friends who were really much better musicians than I, and I was a painter, so I became interested in painting. And so music had a different function for me, just for personal discovery and enjoyment.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, now you told me you took this amazing trip when you were 17 through Northern Africa, and that really opened you up and changed your whole idea of music.
Well, yes, in 1970, I went to Europe and ultimately ended up hitchhiking down through Italy, taking the boat over to Tunisia, and hitchhiking across the Sahara Desert when I was 17 years old by myself. And I heard this music there, this particular scale, Hijaz, with that minor third interval. And it was like it was imprinted on my DNA. It was like, and I stopped listening. I didn't stop listening to rock and roll music. It was on the radio, but I became fascinated with maqam music and modal music, and particularly that minor third interval in Hijaz and some of the other scales. And so it kind of went down that rabbit hole for 30 years.
So great. So could you demonstrate that for us
Sure.
on your tambour?
Yeah, this is a yayla tambour. This is from Turkey.
Yeah.
They use it in the Mevlevi ceremonies and for Sufi music. So there is the scale that entranced me.
And still does, I think, right? So why don't you show us a couple more instruments that you might have handy right there? Right.
Well, as I said, I was predominantly started playing stringed instruments, both bowed and plucked. But I became interested at one point in metallophones and ideophones and ultimately just in the quality of sound. So for me, it's always about the quality of the sound. Even more, so I studied ethnomusicology when I was in college, and why do people make music? What's the context that it's used in? And for me, in traditional cultures where the music is still made for a reason, not just for entertainment, so it's whether it's a ceremony or trance or there's healing music, and then I became interested, as I said, just in sound and overtones. As I said, I started with stringed instruments. Actually, I got a mandolin when I was working in Nashville, Tennessee, to play bluegrass and country music on, and then world instruments, strings, then flutes, percussion, and I became very interested in the quality of sound, so that one note and the vibration of that note and how it's played can change the way one feels their state, and harmonics and overtones, and so it's been an interesting journey and an endless one. You can spend your whole life and learn about all these different cultures and how they use music. And for me, it's always about the how the sound is made and the instrument and what it comes from culturally as well. So here's an instrument that I heard for the first time when I was in India. It's called komak. And I heard these drums, these fast drums. And I thought, how can anybody drum that fast with so much expression? It almost sounded like someone was talking. And what it is it's a string drum.
Nice.
So it's a little bit like, the syllables, takita, the language of drums that they use in India. But that, as I said, it's a very expressive drum. It's like somebody talking with the percussive drum.
Do you have your nickel harp handy? Can we listen to that?
Yes, sure. Yeah, so this is the nyckelharpa from Sweden, and it's a keyed bowed fiddle. It has these keys on it, which are what stop the strings, and it has sympathetic strings. And I use it in a very untraditional way, because I just love the sound of it. It's just fabulous.
So I'd love it if you could demonstrate some of your flutes. I think would be really nice.
Well, this is a Konkovka from Slovakia, and it's an overtone flute, so there's no holes in it, right? And you just play with the overtones. So those are fun. They make them all the way up like a fujara, which is 6 foot long.
Wow.
And then I have some free reed instruments, because I'm sort of fascinated by the free reed. This is Halusi, which you and I recorded a while back. It's from southern China.
Nice.
And the Bao Wu, also I got this one in Taiwan, and it's the same thing. It's a free reed instrument, but no drone.
Cool. Yeah. Nice.
Then there's all kinds of this. This is sulung from Sunda in Java. I have a whole set of them. It's in Pelag for Dagun. It's a certain kind of music. It's a great little scale. And it's played with, they play with stringed instruments and with gongs and things like that, but it's a little interesting little fipple thing that comes from Indonesia. I have a whole set of them.
It's great. No, it's beautiful.
What else do I have here in the way of flutes and things that you blow into? This, I can reach it. Oh. 1 second. So this instrument I got from an Aboriginal in the mountains of Taiwan, where they used to do headhunting and cannibalism up until the Second World War. And this fellow gave it to me as a present. And when I was there in Taiwan, I met this ethnomusicologist, and I showed him this, and they said, "He gave you that?" I said, "Yes." And I said, "Do you know the significance of this flute?" I said, "I have no idea." I'll play it for you. Very eerie. And they said that the only time that they used this flute is when they did headhunting ceremonies. So I was like, oh, okay.
Nice.
little did I know.
Yeah.
This one is a very low flute in a very specific key from the Chengo people of Hungary who live in Romania. So when the hordes came from Central Asia in I guess maybe the 11th century or something like that, they ended up in Hungary, but some of them didn't get over the mountains. And the Chengo people are sort of this archaic Hungarian people who live in Romania on the far side of the mountains, and they have their own music, and this is one of the scales they use.
Great, Jeff. That's fantastic. So I'd love to go to the next video clip. In this one, you're at the famous Music Inn, and you are all playing together and having a rousing good time. Want to tell us a little bit about this one?
Well, this is a song called Terrible Bear, which is kind of a klezmer country mashup. And the Music Inn is a place that I've frequented they've been there since 1958, but I've been going there since probably the 70s, and buying instruments and giving them my instruments and trading instruments there. So it's a kind of wonderful shop, iconic place in the West Village.
Yeah, let's watch this clip right now. That was really cool. I wanted to, do you have any, I know you have a lot of different percussion, but also unusual instruments that aren't really from different cultures, like sort of modern instruments. Do you want to demonstrate any of them?
Sure.
Just, you know, for their sound quality, right?
Right. Well, as I said, I became fascinated with the sound of metal instruments and the overtones that metal creates, and idiophones, which are instruments which the whole instrument vibrates and creates the sound. And when I traveled in Southeast Asia with Deanna Wolkstein on the storytelling, and I was trying to emulate some of the sounds of Chinese opera and percussive sounds, but with different instruments. So this is a middle tone drum, and it has a really wonderful sound. I'll play it for you.
Nice, very nice. Do you have, let's hear some other examples too, because I know you're really into just sound quality now, right?
Yeah, and you know, I mean, the idea is to find things that are expressive and that can, you know, that you can use to communicate with. You know, some of them are similar to the human voice. I mean, they have lots of, you know, bird whistles and, you know, all kinds of strange things. Let's see here. This is from that, you know, and I find them. This is a modern instrument. This is a. It's a water triangle. It's a
right.
A triangle with water with liquid in it.
It's great.
And some of the traditional instruments, which have some unusual sounds. This is my sister brought this jaw, ass jaw from Peru for me, and it's well, the rattle. So this is a traditional instrument that has great sound, and the vibro slap, they made a modern instrument that imitates this, that's used in all kinds of recordings.
Right, and in that one,
some of the work,
in that one you have the teeth. The teeth are rattling, right, in the jawbone.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, you know, some of the work I did with the storytelling, you know, it's more almost like folio work, like sound, you know, just creating a soundscape of different sounds.
Yeah.
So some of the traditional instruments are good for that, and some of these modern instruments are good for that as well.
Yeah, I wanted to go to that clip actually, that our third clip with the storyteller, and give a little demonstration of what you did. Now, you did a lot of work with storytellers, right? Want to tell us about some of those trips?
Yes, well, predominantly with Deanna Wolkstein, although there have been a few other people that I've worked with. The interesting thing about storytelling, and of course some of these instruments, traditional instruments, were used for the bards and the ashoks to tell epic stories, but the voice has to be predominant, so the sound, whether it's a stringed instrument or a percussive instrument or gongs or whatever you're using, has to back up the human voice. The mbira is great for that, actually. So you try to create the mood and the sense of the place with just the sound to enhance the storytelling. So you might take a look at it.
All right. Well, let's go listen and watch this next video.
The Tang priest continued slowly on his way, thinking to himself his journey had just begun. 10,000 more miles, and his mind was already clouded. If he knew more scriptures, his mind would be more steady, more fearless. He didn't realize that each encounter was a teaching. Not this, not that, not right, not wrong. Don't know. Really don't know. Blank page. Fall down 7. Get up 8. Fall down 7. Get up 8. Oh, look around. No gates.
Yeah, nice. Nice stuff. You're playing your tambour on that one, right? So
Yes, the outer tambour with a drone. So, we went to Taiwan, we went to Burma, we went to Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan. And in Taiwan, we went to a Buddhist university where all these shaved head nuns listened to the story of Journey to the West, the Monkey King. And I played, and at the end, nobody clapped. They just had tears running down their face.
wow.
Yes, and to make music that gets that kind of reaction is, well, it's extraordinary. And the place that was recorded was the clip you just saw was at the Rothko Chapel, where the Rothko paintings in Houston. And I had an extraordinary experience there because the vibrations of the sound and something about the quality of the paintings, this sense that they create, blended in a way that I've never experienced before.
That's
That I
great.
didn't even know was possible. It was like, sound and to create this atmosphere that you could almost cut it with a knife. The whole place was just vibrating with something. So, there's another quality about music that, it's always had a mystical and magical quality, and people recognize its power to heal, for instance.
Sure.
So when I was in Laos, I went up to the hill country up in this village, in the mist, and I said, are there any musicians there? And it was a Hmong village, and this kej, this instrument right here, they said, there's one man, and we went and we knocked on his door at about 10 in the morning, and he comes out and he played for us. And this is an instrument that's used for, calling up the spirits, as it were. And he played it for me. And then he says, I have to get back. And he goes back into his room, and he's an opium addict. And he's got a pipe there, and he doesn't care that the kids are running around, his grandkids, and he just starts, smoking. And ultimately, I ended up purchasing this instrument from him, and I'll play it for you a little bit.
That's great. I love it.
Pretty wild sound, and some of these instruments are 6 feet long.
Yeah.
They actually dance with them. I won't do it here, but to call up the spirits and to chase, for certain occasions.
Okay, Jeff, thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely.
We just got to get you back. All right?
All right.
So, hey, this is Derek Jordan. Thank you for joining us today on the World Fusion Show and being part of the music. It's been great, and I hope you really enjoyed that. I sure did. And remember, think globally, listen locally, and support independent music.